Okay, let me get a good look. We've got about 161. I know we're expecting a big group tomorrow, so it is a pleasure. I know you've gotten one or two or 300 emails from me, and so I'm glad that you get to see me in person. Um, you are fortunate because I have been exactly where you are. And some of you with young children running around, I can totally empathize. I went through National Board in 1999. I was a very young teacher. I've been teaching, I think, 3 years, maybe four at that time. And someone told me if you go through National Board, like you're a master teacher. And I was certain at 26 years old that I must be a master teacher. I don't know what I was thinking. And so I was like, I'll try that. There was no boot camp, there was no Facebook, there was no mentoring group. No one knew what it was. There was no stipend, not a single penny. You just got to go through National Board and tell everybody, I'm a master teacher. I wanted to put that as my signature. Melissa Shields, comma, master teacher. And then after I went through National Board, that's when they started the stipend. It was just a wonderful surprise. So you're talking to somebody who has been in your shoes. And the reason Dr. Rogan and I do what we are doing now is because we understand what it's like and we want you to feel supported. Um, Dr. Rogan, I have to get you to introduce yourself before we just get into all the ins and outs of what they need to know moving forward, because I don't know that they've met you
Probably not.
yet.
No,
Mhm.
I'm Boyd Rogan. I'm a retired UAB School of Education professor, and I was also a director of the Regional In-Service Center for many years at UAB, and enjoyed working with the National Board program so much that after I retired, Dr. Shields let me continue to help out with the scholarship program.
Hired him up. Yep.
Yeah.
Dr. Rogan and I, we have bonded over many things, but when he saw my passion for National Board and he had some opportunity and resources to help, that's how this boot camp started. Um, I am the assistant state superintendent. It's funny because I think a lot of people, Valerie, they just like, I know Shields from, she's a National Board person. And yes, I am. But if you were in this morning's meeting, I am over every single thing that happens in the classroom, every subject, mental health, attendance, books, counseling, ARI, all the laws. But the one thing that is a passion project for me, and that's what National Board is. And so we hope you have found today helpful. How many of you feel like your heads are spinning a little bit? If you say no, you're lying, because it is a lot. I want to tell you something. I got an email from one of our scholarship recipients this morning, and she said, and you're probably in this meeting right now, so I'm not calling you. I won't say who you are, but she just responded if you just checked your email. And she's like, this is a lot. This is a lot. This is a lot, a lot. And I need, can you help me out with the steps? I have lots of questions. And I was just like, that's what today and tomorrow and the next day and for the rest of next year, we are here to help you. So what you have is what I did not have, and I'm going to make sure you do. So if you feel overwhelmed, it's because this is hard. You did know that, right? Like you did know when you applied for this scholarship that you don't just write a few little things and send it in. Like this is the bar exam for teachers. And going back to Lee, and I saw someone else with a little baby in there. And we love to see furry friends in the room too. Um, as someone who went through National Board with two little babies, zero support. Back then, you had to do six components and four 90-minute tests. Now, not to make you like, not like I am awesome, but y'all, that was hard with nobody, no help. And I'm not that smart. I am just someone that has a really strong work ethic, as I imagine each of you do. And I was committed to getting this done. And so I want you to know you can do this. So if you feel overwhelmed and like there's a lot of things happening, let's just back it up a little bit. You just got the scholarship, which is awesome. Dr. Rogan, how many did we have apply? This was an all-time in the history of ever record for applicants.
Almost 650.
I mean, the fact that I am looking at each of you, like, I don't know that you understand how competitive this year.
The
We
year
had
before, the year before was around 450.
and that was huge. We're
That
like,
was huge.
what?
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever top that number. There were people who had amazing applications who did not get the scholarship, and that hurt. I mean, they were incredible applicants. So if you have a friend who didn't get it, make sure you tell him or her, like it's hard. The scholarship process is competitive. National Board is not competitive. It's just you got to do the work and you got to get that cut score. So we want you to know if you're feeling overwhelmed, you've just got the scholarship. The reason we do the boot camp in July is we hope we'll light a fire under you because could you do this in November? Like this would be so stressful because you're in class, you got 100 things going. So we thought, let's do this when folks are like starting to think about back to school, but it's not quite. That's why we chose the perfect time. So you've had a little time to relax. You're starting to think about what's happening next month, and you'll be able to begin immediately with your national board process. And so you will have all of next year to go through as many components as you choose to do. You will submit it in the spring. You have to submit one component, at least one. I'm asked all the time, should I do four? Yes, you should do all four if you feel like you can. But if you've got three babies under three and you're helping a sick parent and you coach everything and you don't know the word no because you teach Sunday school and you coach this and you do that, you don't have to. So that will be a decision that you can make. You'll turn it in the spring and then you can be done or you can continue. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but we want you to know you've got time. Everything you've learned today, you do not have to put in play tomorrow. And the beauty of the boot camp is we've recorded just about everything. So I hope to see many of you tomorrow, like in person. I want you to stop me and Dr. Rogan and tell us who you are. But you're going to learn a lot. You're going to remember 20% of it. That's teaching, right? Like that's real world. And so you'll be able to go back and watch videos. You'll have access to all this stuff, and you'll also have access to each of us. Okay, so I'm coming to you today from Gordon Parsons in Montgomery. I'm actually from Hopes Bluff. I know I saw some Etowah County people in here. Recently moved to Huntsville, so I'm a little bit all over the place. But the boot camp is certainly, I would call it a project that Dr. Rogan and I are really, really proud of. And to see what Valerie and her colleagues have done with the RICS to make this as big and amazing as it is just incredible. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to share my screen for just a minute. And Dr. Rogan and I have done this many, many years. So you will see us kind of plug in when we need to. So Dr. Rogan, please stop me as you know to do. And I'm going to pull up a few things just to make sure I don't forget something important and start throwing those questions in the chat if you have them. So first thing first, let me put your faces up here so I can see. And I thank so many of you for putting your screens on. I know some of you might be, I don't want anybody to see me because I am laying out by the pool. I respect that. But for those of you who have, it's really nice. So I'm sharing with you the website that you saw in the very beginning when you applied. And so I have just put myself a few notes under the recipient calendar. So let's start there. So I've gotten a lot of questions. The person who just emailed me, she's like, when should I do things? What should I start? What should I start first? Let me just say this very clearly. That's up to you. Let's see how well you have listened. For those of you who've been in virtual sessions today, if you have not attended anything, you'll be face to face. That's fine. We'll catch you up tomorrow. Do you have to do the components in order? Yes or no?
No.
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 You do not.
No.
That was very forceful.
Thank you, Daniel. No, you do not. You can do a little homework and be like, you know what? I'm going to do this one first. Have you been told which one counts the most?
Isn't it component one?
So component one, which is the assessment, but component three, which is the video component, is really heavy. And recommendation has always been do that one first. The video component, and I back in the old days, you had to do two video components. I would, when you start school, put your camera. I had an extra iPhone. This is what I did, when I went through it the third time. The first time I went through National Board, I had to submit on two VHS tapes, as I shared this morning. The second time I went through National Board 10 years later, I had to submit it through DVDs. The third time I went through National Board, I was able to use an iPhone, and I thought that was kind of amazing. I had my video done in like 20 minutes. I'm like, y'all don't complain. Um, but what I did do when I was a classroom teacher going through the initial certification, I just put I had an extra like camcorder. Do they still call it that? In the back of my classroom. And you can literally see on the videos like me holding my camera, run into the back of the classroom, running back to the front of the classroom, picking it up, going to my students' groups. So I want you to know if you're worried about videoing, there's an awesome component 3 session I would encourage you to go to on a techie session if you want a little help with that. It just don't have to be like, this is not this is a homemade video. There's no other way to put it. So if I was you, I would just start videoing. Every one of us have those lessons that we get excited about. Right? Like you have those lessons that you do throughout the year. They're like, oh, I can't wait. We get to do this. It's a great lesson because it hits a lot of different learners. You got kids engaged. It's just one of those awesome lessons. If you are not recording that, you are missing out. So record often. And as soon as the lesson is over, you'll be like, you know, teaching channel should have been in my classroom today because I was awesome. But you don't want it to be, I sure wished I had recorded that. So my recommendation is to start recording. And the beautiful thing about component 3 is that once you have a really good video, all you do is just sit down and you write about it. And that's something you can do pretty quickly. The other components that you're going to learn more about take longer time. Like component 2, you're watching students over time. So that's going to take months, right? Component 4, which is the, excuse me, the formative assessment and the summative assessment. Once again, you're looking over time. Component 3, knock that sucker out. So where are we now? This is us in July. We are attending the boot camp. And then you will be able, after this boot camp, to start working on the components of your choice. Whatever you feel led to do. And if you're like, I don't want to do the video, that scares me. And gentlemen, I don't know if you have hangups with this, but ladies, it is hard to watch yourself on video for hours on end. You're going to make a lot of wardrobe changes in your life. You're going to hear your accent. But I have not heard the same complaint from the gentlemen. They're like, oh, yeah. But I'll say, having gone through National Board 3 times, I'm like, you hear your accent. It's so funny. Immediately, as soon as this camp is over, I want you to connect with your regional in-service center director. Do each of you know who your director is?
I know where it is, but I don't know who.
Okay, we got you. And Valerie, will you put a link in the chat to every person in this group's in-service center director? So we have this awesome website
Sure will.
that all you got to do is like help. And the legislature has appropriated money for each of the directors to provide support specifically for National Board. So Valerie's going to help me out with that. So if you don't know who that is, you need to. We offer free, no cost mentoring by some of the best nationally board certified teachers in the state. So when this is over and your head's had time to like relax a little bit, reach out to your director and say, now they already know you. I've already sent them your names. Every single director has your email address, where you are, what your certification is, because I wanted them to know you've got people in your region who have gotten a scholarship, and I need you to love on them. I know some of them have already reached out to you. Valerie, anything to add about that when it comes to mentoring?
Nope, but no matter where you are in the state, we're ready to support you.
She means that. So you're going to start working, after the boot camp. You can, and beginning immediately, you can start doing videos. You can start taking student artifacts. I'll share a little bit about what that can look like. Around and Dr. Rogan, this is where I really lean in on him because he keeps me on track with the funding and the scholarships. No one is going to send you a check, so no one's going to give you $1,900. That's not the way it works. It will go straight to National Board. And we will simply say, these are, I have Kathleen, and these are Kathleen's, this is her $1,900. It's going to go straight into your account because you gave us your candidate ID number. And then once it's in there, you will pull from it. Dr. Rogan, what else do they need to know about that?
Well, you should always, if you ever have an opportunity to or need to communicate directly with National Board, always use your account number. That's the way they keep up with you. And we do not know ever when the money is going to be deposited. One check comes from the State Department for all 271, so it's a big check, but it goes through a lot of steps within the State Department, and we really don't know. It was kind of late last year, which created some problems. So we're going to hopefully be able to expedite that a little bit this year and make sure that the money gets there in time. And it'll definitely be there this calendar year. And you won't be registering probably until January anyway. So your money will be there. And remember that you are a third party payer, and the State Department is your third party.
Thank you. Dr. Rogan, I was reading some of the comments in the chat. So let me address a couple of them while I'm saying them. I'm going to chase a squirrel for a second. The PTSD from EdTPA is creeping in. Said that. Is that Brittany? So this is different. Okay. Yes, EdTPA use a lot of the same philosophies and constructs for the EdTPA process. And if you've gone through EdTPA, it will certainly be helpful. But this is where it's different. The language that you are going to use in your portfolio are going to be very conversational. So if you have gone through your master's or your EDS or any other fancy degree and you use all this smart academic language and you had your APAs and your MLAs, and I'm an English teacher and so is Dr. Rogan, I need you to put that on a shelf. When you go through National Board, your responses need to be in first person. Don't say, I believe the teacher should do this. You're the teacher. Don't say student A did this and then student B did this. Say, Jarius did this and Melissa did this. Like, use names. Don't use full names, but use names. And we're going to help you with all of that. But I need you, yes, the stress of the writing piece. The writing is not the problem. So I have one of my very best friends as a math teacher. And she's like, I don't think I can go through National Board. I don't even like writing, which really hurts my heart as an English teacher. And then when I talked her into going through it, and she did, and she's certified and she's amazing. Her problem was that she wrote too much because you're prompted. You're answering questions the whole time. And the issue is they give you like 10 pages and then you have 14, and then you need a friend like us to you don't need this and you don't need that. So we'll talk a little about that too, but this is not EdTPA. This is not a graduate class. Think of it as a reflective diary of your classroom, and you're responding to specific prompts. You want the assessors to hear, just like you did in your scholarship. Do you remember what we said in the instructions for the scholarship? We want to hear the heart of your classroom. Do you remember that? The reason you are in this room is because we heard your heart. We read your applications and I said, I want Janelle to teach my granddaughter. I want this person, that's what we were looking for. So obviously you're on the right track. And so just keep that in mind. So you're going to work throughout the year. There are mentoring sessions throughout the year in each of our regional in-service centers. We will be providing support as well, just checking in with you. And then around February, March is when you've got to make some hard decisions. So someone said, I want to do all 4. Do you have any, I thought I saw that somewhere. Do you have any advice? So let's talk about that. So if you get truly inspired by this boot camp, you're like, I just, like for me, I had 2 babies in 2 years. I went without sleep. And I kind of, when I went through national board, I'm like, well, I'll just do it again, like, so my process as a very young mom, had an amazing husband. My school was 30 minutes apart, 30 minutes away. Um, I said, I'm going to be mama during the week, at home. I'm going to be the most amazing teacher I can be for my students. So I might say 85% of the work I did for National Board, which was a lot, was between the hours on Friday night of, I don't know, 8 p.m. when I put the babies to bed till 2 in the morning. I did that every Friday and Saturday night for about 6 months. I kind of did the same thing when I went through my dissertation because it worked so well for National Board. That was my process because I had other commitments. You may not have those commitments. I did not want to be working on National Board every day because it was important to me. I got to be a good teacher. I got two little ones at home that are counting on me. So I really departmentalized. I was collecting stuff, I was videoing. But when it came to sitting in front of the computer and typing away, I, for the most part, only did that on the weekends when everybody was asleep. I told my Sunday school teacher I may miss a few Sunday school classes because I'm staying up till 3 in the morning on Saturday night. And they're like, we will pray for you. So I couldn't wait to tell them when I had certified. But around February, March is when you'll have to decide exactly what you're submitting because National Board is going to make you commit. So you don't have to commit from this point until February. Does that give you a little bit of does that make you relax a little bit? So if you told us in your application or in your acceptance, I'm going to do all four, and then this has made you say maybe not, it's okay. No one's holding you to that. Um, but you have time to go ahead and get started. And around February, you'll start getting prompts from National Board, not from me or Dr. Rogan, to say you must register for your components. So that will be when you make the decision and pull down your scholarship funds that this is what I want. So if you're in this stress mode, just let it go. Just do one component at a time. Around March, if you're doing component one, which is the assessment, you can start as early as March 1 to take that test. Now, all I can tell you is my experience, and I've been a mentor for 25 years. Some of you may have the bandwidth to do that test in March. I'm thinking of me in the classroom in March and April. I don't know. I chose to take the assessment the week after school got out. That's because I was like, I need a week to just clear my mind. But some people do it early. So you'll have if you choose to do component one, between March 1 right here and June 15th to take that assessment. I would not take it on June 15th in case there is some sort of emergency. And Dr. Roken, we've had some issues with that. That's up to you. In April, you will be able to start submitting your components. So if you finish everything in December, unlikely, but it's possible. If you finish everything in December, you're going to have to just hold on to it until April when they open up this digital portfolio and you can start uploading your stuff. So somewhere between April 1 and May 18th is when you can start uploading your portfolio. And we already had July 10 boot camp, so there we are. And then in December, you will find out if you certified, or if you didn't do the whole thing, you will get your scores. If you've been in another session, typically we try to aim for a 2.85 or higher, that we really, we really want to be in a good space. You want to aim for 3.0 or higher because everything's on a 4-point scale. You can get higher. I know lots of folks have gotten 4.8s. Melissa Shields did not get 4.8, but I think it's awesome for those who have. So that you will see this is really like a 2-year process. Really for you, a 3-year, right? Because you did the scholarship this school year. You're gonna work on it this upcoming school year, and then you will find out the following December if you certified. A lot of people don't realize that. It's a process. It's a process. If you, I've got someone trying to come in. If you turn in one component, you'll get your feedback on that, and then you'll just continue working on the other components. Let me check the chat real quick. Yes, you will not get your scores until December. You don't have to tell me that's a long time. I experienced that myself. Just a funny aside. So my husband is a banker. I don't have a single person in my family who's an educator. And I had told my husband I was going through this thing. I got this scholarship. I didn't want anybody to know I was going through it. No one knew what it was. It was hard. He saw the blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, I actually have my standards, and it's got coffee stains, and it just looks terrible. And I told him because back then you didn't get an email. You got a letter in the mail to let you know if you certified. And I told him that I needed him when it got to about the time, December-ish. I said, I need you to go home every day for lunch. And I need you to check that mail because if I come home to that mailbox and there's a National Board envelope in there, I might just die on the spot. And he did, as a good husband should, listen to his wife. He went every single that whole whatever time in December. And a funny thing is, he checked voicemail, and even though I was a baby teacher, I had not certified yet. JSU Valerie had asked me to come do a session on what is National Board. And I was like, I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you what it did. And someone had seen my name on a website that listed all the new NVCTs and had left a actual voicemail on my actual home phone. And my husband heard it and called the school, and it was just a whole big thing. It was amazing. But I had told him, if it's bad news, buy me a car. If it's good news, call me immediately. So yes, it's not like that anymore. So I want to hit a few things. Let me go back to some of your questions. Let me go down here at the very bottom. I wanted to show you just a few things. I wanted you to see, and I see we have several, not to, just spotlight our men in the room, but for so many years, National Board, especially around the country, is largely females, which, of course, teachers are largely females. That's just the nature of, teaching. And I was so proud of our men. Look, we're up to almost 12% of our scholarship recipients are men. So can we do a little shout out for the men in the room? Yeah, Garrett, they're talking about you. I saw that. But yes, we're very pleased. It used to be like 3% and 4%. I also want you to see, I'm really proud of this too. When we're looking at just the demographics of our scholarship recipients, this number used to look a lot different too. I mean, when we were talking about or Hispanic Americans or African Americans, looking at just all of the different groups around our state to see that, we're upwards of, what is this, 26% of our teachers of color are receiving this scholarship. That is really exciting. So we're seeing a lot of growth around the state that matches our state. But this one's really funny. So these are the certifications that you represent. I just want you to say these are all of the certifications. Anyone want to guess what this big green one is?
Literacy.
Gosh, if I had chocolate, I'd throw it at you. Yes, you are right. What about this one? This other green one?
Special needs.
Oh gosh, are y'all cheating? Yes, that is right. And then everybody else. So I love to see all the different certifications that are here. If you are in this morning's kickoff, which you'll hear this tomorrow if you were not, we are currently, so no pressure, we are currently number 5th in the country for new MBCTs. So that's pretty awesome. And we're a very small state. So for us to be number 5, that's not by percentage, that's by number. So that is even more impressive. So just saying, everybody's watching you. You've already had, hopefully, an email come to you from Atlas. Does this ring any bells? Okay, so this is not an Atlas session. I've already done that today. It was recorded if I didn't see you, but it's really easy to use. I just told you about the videos. So Atlas is a great place for you to go because it's teachers who scored a 3 point, I forgot what I said, Dr. Rogan, 8.5 or something to a 4. Teachers who have scored, MBCTs who have scored really high on their video component. That is all in Atlas. You can search by your certificate. You can see the video. You can see the actual written commentary by that teacher and any instructional material. So if you haven't, while I'm talking, will you look in your email real quick and see if you got something from Atlas? Because we've sent you a free access to it. But that, right, Valerie, like the access ends like in 24 hours. So if you don't sign up, you'll lose it. And then you'll have to ask for it. Anything you want to add to that, Valerie?
At the end of the session, I'm going to put a form in the chat to where if you have checked your personal email, because that's what we ask for in the enlistment form. If you check your personal email and you do not have an email from Atlas, or if it's expired, just fill out the form that I plug in there in the chat at the end, and we'll make sure you get it in the next few days or so.
Thank you. I've shared with you the calendar guidance. I'm just going over some reminders for myself. I have hyperlinked as much as I could, and this link now is in the chat. You have to know your standards. So there's a lot of things that mentors and myself and those that want to, rally behind you, but ultimately you need to know your standards. So this is my recommendation to you. If you have not already, print your standards, or if you're a digital person, whatever tool you want to use. The standards, you can look at them in 30 minutes. It's not like it's going to take a long time. My recommendation to you before you start writing, your components is read the standards in your certificate area. Get you 3 highlighters. When you see something that you do, because it's going to give you examples, like this is an example of this standard, and you're going to read and be like, oh my God, I do that all the time. I need you to highlight that, maybe even put like I do that in October. This is when I do that. You're going to see a lot of like buzzwords, like just words that they're using. I would make sure you circle those in another color. So as you're writing your component, you're just slipping them in there because, this is language that National Board is using. And I was a young teacher, so maybe your experience will be different. But if you read the standards and you're like, I do not know what that is. I have never heard of that. This is new information. I need you to highlight that in another color and Google it. What you're doing is really preparing the skeleton for your portfolio. It's going to give you automatically, oh my gosh, I do that. And I'll be able to address the standard. So you're going to have a lot of things come to your mind, and you will love yourself later when in the fall and in the winter you're working on this and you have already done a lot of the hard work thinking about what are the things I do in my classroom. Just keep those standards super handy. In terms of how to do it all in 1 year, you have to pace yourself. I am a little bit of a multitasker. I think you've known me long enough to know that. But I told myself I can only do one entry at a time. That was my process. Like I can't be working on 3 entries at the same time. That's too much for me. My head's gonna explode. Can I be videoing every day? Absolutely. And I'm just gonna stack those. Well, those VHS tapes was a big stack. I'm going to stack those or save those for later, but not now. But I'm going to be videoing. Am I going to be collecting student evidence? Let's say I choose 2 students that I want to show growth over time. That's component 2, right? Absolutely, I'm going to do that. But for me, for my own sanity, that was the way I chose to do it. And we had 6 entries back then. So there are only 3 that you have to submit, and then 1 is an assessment. So it is simply a matter of, pacing yourself. The quickest one to do is component 3 for the reasons I shared earlier, right? That's the video. Component 2 and 4 take a little time. In component 2, you're going to be asked to choose students to show growth over time. And I know we have music candidates in here. We have physical education. We have special education. We've got just, I mean, you saw it, every certificate. So make sure you read your instructions really well on that. Here's a thing, and you're going to hear this if you go to component 3 session, component 2 session. If you choose your best and brightest students, what could be problematic with that? I see you shaking your heads.
No growth.
No growth.
Yeah, yeah.
It's harder
So,
to show.
Correction.
yeah. And I mean, and we're certainly want to work with our gifted students and our, absolutely. But if I would be looking at the beginning of the year, because you're going to have to choose some students, that students that have so much promise and you can work with them. Now, I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth because I want to share with you when I did this, I chose a gifted student as one of my 3 students to profile. But what you need to know about my sweet gifted student named Ben, he had like C's and D's on his report card. He was chronically absent. He was what? Bored. He was absolutely bored. And so I profiled him in my component, which back then was a different number, but it was component 2, and how I worked with him to really give him opportunities to elevate himself and his knowledge. So, do you see where I'm going with that? One of my other students I chose was a multilingual student that had just come to us from Colombia, and she was amazing. And I knew almost nothing about serving multilingual students. So, I was talking about my growth through that journey. So, I wanted to share that with you. You can't take a gap year. This is a new thing that Dr. Rogan and I have had to address. Like, this is not college. You have 3 years to do this. You have to submit something next year, whether it's taking the assessment, one of the components, or all of them. But you can't be like, get the grant this year and like, I'm just going to take next year off. It does not work that way. So you have to submit something next year, and then something every year for 3 years. How you choose to do that is ultimately up to you. I get emails all the time, like, you don't know me, but could you tell me what order I should do this? And I'm like, I absolutely cannot. That is a person. I can't tell you how to go pursue your master's degree or your EDS degree. That will be a decision up to you. I shared earlier, and I don't know if you were in that session, I think it was the Atlas session, but if you are not the traditional math, literacy, science, you have a certificate that might be a bit unique, and you're like, I want to meet someone in our state. Do I have any ARP folks or CTE folks I know I do. That's a rhetorical question because I've seen your scholarship. So let's say I want to see another fine arts person. I'm going to click on Alabama and I want to go to certificate area. I'm going to click on music, early adolescence through young adulthood. I can see, oh, hang on, let me go back. This is 2026. Let me go back one. Okay, I can see in 2025, so very recently, there were 5 teachers who are now certified. I can see where they are in our state. And I know, thank you, Destiny. I'm like, ooh, okay. I want to connect. I'm going to find Michael. I'm going to find him on Facebook and I'm going to say, please be my friend. I'm going through National Board. They know this. They expect this. Do not think twice about reaching out to someone that you have found on the Alabama directory to say, hey, do you mind talking to me for 10 minutes and I just want to pick your brain? And you can do that for every certificate. So this is on that same sheet that I've just shared with you. I mean, keep clicking around here. You're learning a lot today, tomorrow, and Friday. It's a lot. You're not going to remember all of it, and that's fine. But just know that you can go to our bootcamp website and almost everything you've learned over this last few days is recorded and the slides. So you will have access to this later. So don't feel like you got to write everything down, but we do have like a bootcamp refresh if you want to do that. I've already shared that. Several of you asked some questions. Dr. Rogan and I were looking at your questions in your acceptance form, and we felt like it would be, since we got you, we'll answer your questions. If you are switching schools, so let's say you got the scholarship and you're like, well, I'm moving. It happens every year. That is not a problem. It will not change anything for your scholarship. You might want to let us know, but the most important person to let know is National Board. You know how you have an account with them with your name and your candidate ID? Make sure you update your school because when you certify, we send the check to who is to what you have in National Board. So if you have the school right now that you're at, and then you go, you become an MBCT, we're going to send your stipend there because we go straight by what National Board sends us. We have no idea if it's different. So even if you send it to me, it doesn't make a difference. It's got to be what's in the National Board registry.
Yeah, and they can send it to me also. So we have a local way of getting in touch with people because we want to continue to
Yes,
be in touch with you. So please let us know if you've changed school systems, emails, phone
email
numbers,
for
or
sure.
anything that we've used to contact you with. But yes, as Dr. Shields said, definitely let a national board know. And let me give you a phone number now too that Valerie may put up there. That should be a common number for you, and that's the National Board Customer Service number. You might have opportunities during the next 3 years to talk to them. Hopefully not, but it's 1-800, the number 22, and the numbers that correspond with the word teach. 1-800-22-TEACH, TEACH. And they are very helpful and very good people. And they can, if you have questions about your money that's supposed to be there and it's not, of your account, or any kind of registration questions you might have, they'll be better equipped to answer that than we will. So,
Mhm.
yes, that's good. Okay, so keep that number on file. Customer service for National Board.
Absolutely. Um, So if you go through National Board and you become a National Board teacher, and each of you will, okay, like we're committing, like it's happening. And if you change schools, no problem. You can change schools. I changed schools. I became an administrator. I still got my $5,000. I'm still a nationally board certified teacher. So I renewed when I was a curriculum director. I went through national board. From this level, at the state level, I went around the state being like, "Hey, Garrett, can I have your kids on Tuesday?" And Garrett's like, "Absolutely. You can have them on Tuesday. You can have them also on Wednesday and Thursday if you would like." It was a lot of fun just going around the classroom. Going around the state, getting to do what I love to do most. Um, I believe for seventh grade, the early adolescence is applicable, but please advise if that is the incorrect certification title. So this is a great question, and that's why I listed it. You do have some decisions to make when it comes to choosing your certification. How many of you teach eighth or ninth grade? Okay, I see Tamara. I saw several others. Okay, yes. Ray, I love that. I love the way you spell that. I hope I said it right. So if you teach eighth or ninth grade, you are kind of at you could do either certificate. If you teach eighth grade science, eighth grade English, eighth grade math, you could do early adolescence, which is ages 7 to 15. Because remember, National Board does it by age, not by grade. But if you do, through young adulthood, I think that starts from 14 to 18. So your eighth graders fall and ninth graders fall right in that kind of sweet spot of do I want to do early adolescence or do I want to do I think it's early adolescence through young adulthood. This is what I recommend to science, math, ELA people, whoever, is I would look at the instructions, maybe look at the assessment, and be like, which do I feel most comfortable? I was an eighth grade teacher when I went through national board, and I did the same thing. I was like, I don't know which one to do. I chose to do early adolescence, which is that's age 11 to 14 or 15, because I knew I was going to be teaching eighth grade the following year. Also, I've taught 11th and 12th grade, love teaching the upper grades, but it'd been a minute since I was like, I hadn't taught Canterbury Tales, and I was thinking of all the things that I might be asked on the assessment for the upper grades that I had just not taught in a while. So I chose to stick to the early adolescents, but ultimately, once again, it's your decision. So for my seventh grade, yes, that is what I did, but it may not be what you want to do. I would like to know if I can choose literacy as a media specialist. Yes, you can absolutely choose to do a literacy certificate as a media specialist. Or do I have to choose? That is completely up to you. We have curriculum directors. One of my dear friends, she was a curriculum director, is a curriculum director in a district. She went through national board at the district level, borrowing a teacher's classroom every Friday. So if you are able to look through those instructions as a literacy person and feel like that's something you could do, then that would be a decision that you can make. Um, when I officially start my new position, who should I notify? That is another one. So I just got an email this week from someone that never got her stipend. She was also a scholarship recipient. She's like, "Where's my money?" And I mean, do you blame her? And so she emailed me. I'm like, well, it was the exact same situation I just told you. She did not update her national board account. Her district that she moved to didn't even know she was a national board teacher. So she was kind of like out there, like, there's money for her, but no one knew where she was. So not if, when you become an MBCT, don't assume that your superintendent and your HR people know. You might know, it's like, I'm so excited. Let them know, because that's whoever your HR person is, you need to let them know that you have certified. Am I automatically assigned a mentor? No. You will have to reach out, if they have not already, to the Regional In-Service Center to connect with mentoring. Many of them, they meet in a designated location, and you can sit at a table with other candidates who are going through your same portfolio. So no, you don't get one just because you have to ask for it. Not You just need to reach out to your directors and they will connect you. Can I resubmit? This person saying I've already done component one. If I don't like the score, can I use the scholarship? No, you cannot use a scholarship for retakes. That is per the law. So no. Um, I am planning on doing all four components this year, but is it a problem if I don't all get all four done? That's, once again, I told you have until what, February-ish to make that decision. So you're good. I think we've already said that. And let me just go back up through some of these others that we keep adding, Dr. Rogan. I've already told you did not get a check. I have, someone asked, this was last year, if I'm unable to complete all three components, all four components within 3 years, do I lose the scholarship? Yes. Starting now, you have a 3-year window. That's per national board. That's not just per the department. Like, that's national board requires you to submit all four components within 3 years. If you move out of state before the 3 years up, am I required to return the money? That is the expectation, because you signed off saying that you're going to stick around for a few years. You can change, Dr. Rogan and I talked about this earlier. You can change to another district, no problem. But if you change out of state, then we need your money back. So let's do some rhetorical questions here. Am I required to submit all four components in 1 year? The answer is
No.
no. Okay, good. I love the engagement. Appreciate that. Um, there is one thing that you have to pay as a scholarship recipient, and it is the $75. They will nudge you to submit that. So make sure that you do. Because if you don't, then you're not a candidate. So we can send them money, but if you've not registered the $75, then that's an issue. So here's something to think about. For every year that you are a candidate, you have to pay $75. So if it takes you 3 years to go through national board, you're going to pay $75 each year. So if you're kind of thinking about doing this all in 1 year, that's just another incentive that you just pay the $75 that one time, and hopefully you're done. If you don't become an MBCT, you do not have to return the money, but that is not going to happen. I already told you where to find support. If I change my mind, we've already said that. Some of you were very eager in your acceptance, and I loved it. But if you change your mind, it's okay. Um, I live closer to another regional in-service center. So like Jasper is one. I'm thinking, I don't know if any of you are from Jasper, but so okay, Tamara, am I going to say that right? We had some folks from Jasper when I was working with Dr. Rogan in Birmingham, and they're like, it takes forever to get to, is it UNA is the Rick? That's a drive.
Yes.
So it was much shorter for them to come hang out with us in Birmingham. That is not a problem at all. Valerie, I mean, that happens all the time. Anything to add about that?
Nope. We will adopt you.
Yes, gladly. Yes. And some people don't live. That was a whole other thing. Like some people may go to this school to teach, but they actually live 10 minutes away from, wherever the mentoring is. So we'll work with you. You're fine. We've already told you you can start now. No for retakes. If you teach one content area and then I already told you that and go teach something else, you're still an MBCT. We already talked about that. If you become a principal, if you become an instructional coach, a superintendent, I mean, I know superintendents that are going through maintenance of certification. You will still get your $5,000. You are still an MBCT in a public school. We've already discussed that. Dr. Rogan discussed the funds. I think we've gone through the calendar. I'm checking all my notes here. And I'm going to quit sharing real quick. Outside of that, I don't see your faces yet. There you are. Outside of that, we just want to make sure that you know, because we're so hands-on in helping you into the scholarship. From this point forward, like you're not going to hear as much from us because we've done the boot camp, we've got you connected. The RIC directors are going to reach out to you. So it's really, really important from this point forward, kind of the onus is on you to make the decisions, what you want to do. Let me tell you what not to do, as I know we're closing in on 4. You want to make someone salty? That would be the week before your portfolio is due, sending someone 27 pages. Hey, do you mind reading over this and let me know what you think? That happens to me every year. And like you're like, Dr. Shields, you don't know me, but I heard you love National Board, and here is my 36 pages of reading. And if you don't mind spending the next 6 hours reading it and let me know what you think, don't wait until the end to have someone read your stuff. Even if you have a mentor, get a buddy teacher, a friend, someone to be looking over your writing, someone who loves you enough to poke holes. Do not give it to someone who's like, you're amazing. I love it. No, give it to someone that's like, I need more clarification there. And the only other thing, Dr. Rogan, I wanted you to stress what you said earlier about answering the questions.
You mean when you're submitting your
Yes,
yeah,
the whole pontification about how awesome it is to be a teacher may not work for
right.
you.
Yeah, it's you stick with those 5 propositions. That's the core of what you're doing, and that's what got you scholarships in the first place because you did adhere to that better than
Mhm.
the other applications that were sent in. Some people didn't do that real well. They talked about
Yeah.
how much they love children and lifetime learning and all this sort of thing. The readers wanted to know how you related in your classroom philosophy to the 5 standards. So as you continue your journey here, keep those foremost in your mind that's what you're working on. And one other thing I wanted to mention, and I'm not sure if they're still doing this, but we had a unfortunate incident a year ago where National Board and the Pearson Company works with them sent emails to people on a random basis. We didn't know anything about it, but they sent it on a random basis, and the people never answered the individual scholarship recipient, which meant the National Board then terminated their scholarship. And of course, we had some panicked people calling us saying, I just lost my scholarship because I didn't respond to a survey that they sent out, an audit. And again, we knew nothing about it until after the fact. So if you get anything from Pearson Publishing or National Board, be sure that you answer it and respond to it if they're asking for a response, because they can pull your scholarship. And we don't want that to happen to anybody. So please be alert to that.
Yeah, that was new last year. Never
Yeah.
heard of that. No, we learned a lesson, and thank you, Dr. Rogan, for mentioning that because that was new. I hope that we get to see a bunch of you tomorrow. I hope if today was your virtual day that you learned lots. I hope you use this as a way to like kind of prioritize how you want to move forward. On behalf of Dr. Mackey, who's just down the hall from me, he wanted me to tell you how extremely proud I was sharing with him. We walked up 6 flights of steps this morning. It wasn't my intention, but you know, when your boss is like, "Oh, I'll just walk up 6 flights of steps," I'm like, "Yeah, me too." um, that killed me. And so we were actually just talking about this, and he wanted me to tell you how extremely proud and that he could not, he said he always wanted to be a nationally board certified teacher too, and that he is just so proud of Alabama's national stats. And to know that this group made the cut out of the 600 and something that applied is just really, it's a testimony to your perseverance and certainly to your accomplished teaching. We'll stay online because I'm guessing there are still some questions that you have, so we're not going anywhere. Dr. Rogan?
Valerie, can you post my email on there, Valerie?
I sure will.
Uh, so if you have questions during the year, you can email me or you can call a national board, that 1-800 number we gave you a few minutes ago. If I can't answer it, I'll find an answer for you, or I'll call national board. But sometimes it's better just for you to talk to them personally. But yeah, we're around. We're not going anywhere. So as questions arise during the year, please get in touch with us. We're here to help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I see Valerie has added that information. We're going to stick around for as long as you need us, just in case. And if you have a question that hasn't been answered in the chat, I've been trying to like go back through them. If you'll repost it, if it's still something you need to know, just put it at the bottom. We can go through those too.
Hi, Ms. Shields. I'm going through the website and I can't find the Spanish version of the student release form.
Okay, I know we have them.
I pasted that underneath your question.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
thank you. I didn't go back.
That's okay. You're welcome.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm looking at the dates and deadlines, and it says that the component purchase deadline is February 28th. So does that mean we need to have that decision how many we're going to do by that date? And if we're
Yes.
and if we only do like 2, would we be unable to add another one to that after that date?
No, that's a great question. After whatever their deadline is, February, March, once you, whatever that deadline is for, I forgot what they call it. There's a word for it, validating or confirming your components, you cannot do it after that time. Now, I think there's some give between February and March. Like, say that question one more time, and I'll make sure I'm answering you correctly.
Okay. So on the dates and deadlines, it says that registration and component purchase deadline is February 28th. So my question was, is that when we commit to how many we are going to do? If we say 2, but then decide to add another one, would we
I
be
don't think
unable to
so.
do it?
No, I
Okay.
don't think so. I think after that February date, you're locked in.
Yeah.
Okay.
That money
And
will
does
be
that,
that money will then be withdrawn from your account.
okay, so that means if we're unable to do both of them, we just lose that money.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, if
Okay.
you sign up for 2, that's a good one too, Angela. Let's say you do sign up for 2 and you're like, oh God, they will count that as your first attempt, whether you submit,
Okay.
because you said you're going to do it. So that is, I probably need to add that as a Q&A. So
Okay.
if you register for 2, past that deadline, once that deadline comes and goes, they're expecting those components to be submitted.
And we
Okay.
at our in-service center, we don't typically recommend that you register until February because if
Right.
anything
That's right.
comes up between now and then,
There's
you
no
haven't
rush.
lost, you're not out of that
Right.
75.
Right.
But that doesn't mean wait until then to start working on your components.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, I do have another question. It
Mhm.
also says e-portfolio submission window is April 1st to June 15th. Is that the components?
That's just component one. So that is for the assessment for you to take the test. So component one is a test. Component two, three, and four are actual
Okay,
portfolio.
those are two separate things on here. One of them says component one testing window, and then the other one says e-portfolio submission window.
Yes, that's right. So the assessment will be whatever that, I think it's over June 15th, March
Mhm.
1 to June 15th. And
Yes.
then the e-submission is the components two, three, and four. If you're choosing to do one of those, it
Okay.
has to be within that window.
Okay. So I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So say we want to do three components and
Mm-hmm.
it's two, three, and four.
Mm-hmm.
We don't turn them in. We commit to it and then turn them in when it opens.
Yep,
Is that
that's
right?
exactly
Okay.
right.
I think that's my last question.
And I saw someone just posted like, is there a list of everybody that got this scholarship? Yes. 2 seconds before I entered this meeting, I was updating the website. Here, I'll just share it with you so that you can see all of your 300 friends who have gotten this scholarship. When I was in an earlier meeting, I got to update that. This is our national board website, and you will see last year's scholarship recipients are posted on here. In about 10 minutes, you're going to see your names on here. I just haven't published it yet, but just to show you last year's, you'll be able to see who has gotten the scholarship, and you can also look by certification and district name. So I really appreciate whoever asked that, Lee, because I would want to know the same thing. Like, I need a buddy, I need a friend.
Well, I know there's not going to be a lot of people certifying in the same thing. So I thought we'd throw some spaghetti at the wall and see what stuck.
No, it's so yes, give me as soon as this is over, I will hit publish. But I was horrified when I was in an earlier meeting. I'm like, I'm about to do the scholarship session and I'm not even posted their names yet. Now your regional in-service center directors have been posting your names. I have seen those Facebook posts all over the place. But yes, yes, we do have lots of school counselors. I think we've got just about every certification you can think of. Other questions?
I have a question. So if we want to do literacy, but we chose general, are we able to switch or we have to stick with the one that we chose?
No. You don't have to make any hard decisions until February. But if you're planning on working on your components, as I assume you are, you can absolutely change. So if you told us one thing and you've decided after, today you want to do something else, that is not a problem at all. And you will actually commit to that sometime, in the winter.
Okay, thank you, Amos. Thank you for responding for my email this morning.
Oh, you're welcome. You're the one. Okay, I'm happy to do that. No, when I read it, I just giggled because I'm like, I was the same way. I was the same way.
Melissa, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so in my school, I'm the literacy coach.
Okay.
And typically I pull a small group sometime throughout the year that I work with. So what would
Yeah,
you suggest for me doing my videos, being that I don't have a class every day?
you're easy. Okay, so I will say when I was a curriculum director, I asked, and I thought I saw Margaret in here somewhere, one of my Etowah County friends. Um, I thought I did. But when I was in Etowah County as a curriculum director, I encouraged all of my coaches to go through National Board. And then I hung out with them every Wednesday night to make sure they did it. So for a literacy coach or any coach, a math coach, a reading coach, instructional coach, you're really in an ideal situation because you do pull students and you do small groups and you are doing interventions and you are doing the assessments. So you will just do your videos in your small group as you normally would. Now, your instructions, depending on your certificate, sometimes it'll say, I want a whole group video, I want a small group video, I want a series of videos. Just make sure you follow those instructions. But Lakeisha, I would say you coaches really in many ways, it's a really good situation because you're able to really identify students with need and be able to show those supports to them. So that's an easy one, not hard at all.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
I was just going to ask you, I'm sorry I couldn't go to everything today. I had already signed up for professional development. Um, I'm taking a class for this whole week, but I was trying to find out exactly where do I go to get all of the videos from what
That
they've
is an
done to,
excellent question. How about I just show you?
okay.
So, if you go to if you just type in Office of Student Learning in Google, that'll be the easiest way for me to tell you.
Mhm.
I'll put the link in the chat for you as well. It'll be
Okay.
the very first hit.
Okay.
This is these are all the things that fall under me, and you will see this beautiful yellow gold circle that says National Board.
Okay.
You will click on that, and then it will take you to all the things that we're talking about today, which you will soon see the 2026 scholarship recipients. If you click on boot camp, not only is it going to take you to all the videos from this week, but you also have access to all of the videos from the previous years.
Okay.
So if you're a counselor, like I saw someone say I'm a counselor, we have an awesome session that one of our counselors did on how to go through National Board when when you don't have like a rostered classroom. So all of that will be posted here.
Yeah, I'm a teacher for science, but I just and I've looked at some of those videos before. I don't know. I think you all sent me a link to it before though, but
We
I
have.
how do I get back to that? Okay, thank you.
And let me just put the direct link in there. Yeah, and it is all the emails that I've sent y'all should have that link in there. So if you just go back to my name, but let me throw that in the chat so you'll have it too.
Thank you very much.
Hmm.
A quick question. It
Hmm.
should be quick. It's probably an easy question. Today has been super helpful, and I'm in South Alabama, so USA has given us tons of information. It's been super great. And for me right now, it just all still feels very abstract. And this might
Yes.
be a silly question, but where are the actual questions and prompts that I'll be responding to? Because as I'm reading through the standards and the core propositions, I'd like to look at it through the lens of those questions and getting an idea of how that will apply to those specific situations.
Okay, once again, no, that's a great question. I mean, I want to know, like, tell me what I got to do.
Yeah.
Now, if you went to the basic training this morning, or tomorrow, they'll share this. I do not want to step on their toes, but I just went to NBPTS, so I'm going to go to the Candidate Center,
Mhm.
and it's going to give me all the dates and the deadlines. And I want to go to the first time and returning candidate resources. Okay, so, and I put the direct link so you don't have to do everything I just did. I'm going to throw this in the chat. So what is your certificate area? What'd you say?
English as a new language with the
Okay.
younger babies. I always say the wrong thing.
No, you're good. So I'm going to click on English as new language. And you said for the younger students, so you're
Yes.
early to middle childhood.
Yes.
Instantly, here are your instructions for
Okay,
component
perfect.
1, component 2. Here, remember I told you to highlight your standards.
Yes.
Everything is in one place. So this is
Perfect.
where I was talking about go with your 3 highlighters.
I've been doing that, and I'm like, I wish I had the components, so I knew that I was like, yes,
Yep.
that
Yep.
works. Perfect. Okay.
So if you're still online, that would definitely be a link. If you've not already saved that, go ahead and click on that link and
Perfect.
bookmark it or PDF or download those PDFs of the instructions. Great question. Great question.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I just had a clarification question.
Okay.
I think I'm going to pursue the math component or part, but I'm now in an intermediate school, which I was not at last year. I was in middle school last year, so it was easy to make that decision. But now not as much because intermediate is 4th through 6th grade. So the age range starts at 11, which is like the tail end of your 5th graders and beginning of those 6th graders.
Yeah.
Is that a problem if you're working with those 5th graders and they're not quite 11, but they'll be turning 11 by the time you're done? Or should I just focus on my 6th graders?
Okay, this is there's a very specific language in your instructions, or I think it's called the guide to certification, because that's a very common question. I only know one person ever who did not successfully renew his national board certificate, and the reason he didn't is because his video featured students outside the age group of his certification. Um, I say all that to say, in the instructions, it says that 51% of your students have to fall within that age group. And so, and also, I would say if you are featuring students in component two or component four, and let's say they're not one of that 51%, that would be a mistake. I would only feature students that fall within that age range. Um, that will be a decision that you'll have to make, looking at the instructions. But if you feel confident that 51% of your students fall within that age range, then you should be fine.
Okay, so is it 51% of the students on my entire caseload that I'm teaching or that I'm showing?
No, that would be of your caseload. So, if you're featuring because remember, you're going to first have to explain your class. So
Yeah.
if you're like, I'm a high school, middle school teacher, I had six classes. So I might say, this class, because I taught sixth grade, I taught fifth grade, I taught multiple grades. So in that class that you're featuring, if it's a class that you're featuring, if you are a teacher that teaches like PE teachers who have lots of folks, it's very different. So the classroom that you are spotlighting is 51% of that classroom meeting that age limit.
Okay, because I'm doing math intervention, so it's
Yeah,
all three grade levels. But so if I just focused on my sixth grade group classroom.
as long as they fall in that, yes, I would not focus on a student who's 10, for example, in
Okay,
that. Yeah,
absolutely.
not a problem at all.
Okay,
Mm-mm. You're
but I've
good.
been sweating that one.
No, mm-mm.
Okay, now I'm determined that's the one I'm going to do.
Good. Well, that was easy. Okay,
Yeah.
anybody else? I would see some questions over here. Dr. Reagan, I'm always expecting zingers. Like, can someone give me a question that we can't answer after all these years? Um, can I go over Atlas again? Do I need this? Taylor, are you still in here? I don't see Taylor. Maybe he or she is gone. You need Atlas. So that I did a session earlier today on Atlas. If you go to it, it's a free site. It's so easy to use. You do not need a tutorial, but I certainly did one just in case. And you're able to click on if you are a physical education teacher, you go to it, physical education. I want fifth grade, and it's going to show you other MBCTs who have successfully certified and scored very high on their video. It's going to show their video, their commentary, and any instructional materials that they used. But Taylor, that is kind of if you're still here, that's a whole kind of session in itself. I don't think I could do it justice in a moment.
I have a little bit of a different question because I've already submitted two components.
Okay.
So
Yay.
you said record, 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 and I'm here for it. What are simple recording measures? If you could suggest to me, like if I was going to go buy something, like I did buy a tripod to hold my phone and all of that, but what is something that you suggest that could be simple, I can go purchase so that I don't have to get into all of the data stuff with my phone? I can use.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That is a great question. And I tell you what, I got fancy the last time I did my last MOC because I was able to use like a cell phone like the rest of the world. It was
Okay.
wonderful. I also did a tripod. I went on Amazon. I'll be happy to put it on this document if it helps. I mean, not to help out Amazon, but I'll show you what I did. I got one of those things that it's like Bluetooth and it allows me to stop and start my phone. It was a little clicker I had in my hand so that I didn't have to run over there to my phone. Now, if you have an Apple Watch, I have been told it does that already. So,
Okay.
your Apple Watch, if you have one and you have a iPhone, and I'm sure Androids have something similar, you can also control your video by that. But that was really helpful, so I didn't have to run back and forth. Outside of that, I did order the little speaker thing that I could put by my phone. And so when I went to my individual groups with my students, I was able to kind of lay the microphone there so it would really get the conversation. It did help, but I will say iPhones or cell phones are so good now with sound. I don't know, you might tinker with it, but
Right.
sound can be an issue when I taught middle and high school. Kids are loud. And so when I had my kids in table groups, I wanted the video to capture their discussion instead of all the stuff around them.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask a quick question about certification?
Sure.
Okay, so I teach 8th grade physical science right now, and
Mhm.
I chose to do the
Did you see the 8th grade science scores that were just posted yesterday?
Yes.
15 points. I mean,
I know.
almost.
I know.
A 15-point gain in our state for
Yes.
8th grade science.
It's fantastic. It really is
Never seen that
fantastic.
before. Okay, continue. Sorry.
No, I'm also very proud of that.
Yeah, you should be.
But so I wanted to choose when you do the adolescence and the young adulthood, you have to choose a specific science. And I really wanted to do biology because that's just something I want to further my knowledge on. However, I don't want to have to borrow a class. Like, do
Oh, yeah.
you suggest that I choose chemistry or physics since I'm teaching physical science right now? And do you think, I don't know, that might affect me later down on the road if I want to teach like biology in high school or something?
You won't change that, but so if you're teaching 8th grade science, and at 8th grade science, you still have to choose a specialty science.
For adolescence and young adulthood, yeah. So
Okay,
I'm doing
that's what I was
14
thinking.
through 18. Yeah.
So here's the thing I want you to think about. And once again, this is a personal decision, so you do what's good for you. But look at the assessment for the adolescent through young adulthood for science, because that assessment is still going to get you on chemistry, physics, it assumes that you are teaching all of those upper grade sciences. And because I had to make the same decision as an 8th grade teacher, and so I said I'm going to stick with early adolescence English, because I know I'm teaching this year. I know I'm teaching this next year. And so I would just say look at the instructions for the young adult one for science before you make a decision, because it could make it a little bit harder for you. And the other thing is what I just said earlier, do your students, which I think they would, fit within that age range as an 8th grade? I think what we're talking 14, 15 years old. So I think they're still good with the young adulthood, but I will say some folks have come back later like, I wish I had done young adulthood. No one told me these things were going to be on the assessment. So um, let's, I might connect you with some of my science friends who've gone through national board in
Okay,
middle grades. I think that would be really helpful to give
that
you
would
some
be really
perspective.
helpful because that's really my main problem right now is just figuring out what certification I want to choose because I know I don't want to teach any younger than 8th grade because I've done that before
Yeah.
and that's just not really where my heart lies. I want to do 8th and
Mhm.
above. So that's why I
Sure.
was kind of like, should I do the 14 through 18? So that would be helpful, yes, if I could talk to
It
them.
won't, I mean, it won't change. You're still an MVCT, and no matter what. I mean, I think of myself as a high school. 8th grade, was a younger grade for me too. But yes, I would say, and there is a wonderful Facebook group. I know I've shared this in my emails to you, but there is a Alabama Facebook group for science for every content area. If you just want to get on there and say, exactly your situation, like anyone else in my situation, and see what they say.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Um, if you are a reading specialist, I saw that earlier, would you receive the extra $5,000 for the bonus? That is a hard no. This is not a State Department thing, so before you start throwing daggers at me, that is a legislative thing. The additional stipend was written as a recruitment and retainment law, and the legislature does not play with that. So if an MBCT goes to be a principal, an assistant principal, instructional coach, they are so happy about that, but that person is not serving students directly. So they would no longer be eligible for the extra stipend. But believe me, I've answered that question 80,000 times. So no. And that's a decision when folks are considering becoming a instructional coach and they are in a school that they're getting the extra $5,000. You're going to have, you need to have some conversations with yourself about what the right thing to do is. Now, someone says, since we work directly with students and teachers, I don't know, like reading specialists, the way they're coded, do not work directly with students. So, Patricia, your situation might be a little bit different, but to get the extra stipend, you have to work full time all day with students. You can't even work part time with teachers. Will the sessions tomorrow? So if you went to a Comp 3 session today, do not go to a Comp 3 session in person tomorrow. It is the same content. It may be a different presenter, or maybe you're like, I just want to hear it again. You totally can do that. But yes, sessions by the same name are the same content, although the presenters might change a little bit. So this will be an opportunity to check out some other sessions. I am certified to teach K-12 Spanish and media specialist. I'm currently a media specialist position. Do I have to click my, who said that? Carla, that is up to you. Carla, if you said you're currently teaching, it keeps going away from me. Oh, you're currently a media specialist. You would just have to borrow classrooms, Carla. If you want to do yours in world language, then you would just have to consider your access to students. But yes, people do that. It's a little harder, obviously, because you don't have as much access to them, but you could. Oh, swivels. Yes, Taylor. That came after me, and they are quite handy. The biggest difference, this is Jennifer, is Jennifer still in the room? The biggest difference between a generalist, early childhood, and literacy. So generalist is going to be, and to me, it's a fantastic portfolio. The literacy portfolio is new. Like that wasn't around until, maybe 10 years ago. For many years, if you were an elementary teacher, you just did generalists. That's why we have so many generalists in the state. The generalist is going to be a portfolio on social studies, science, math, and English language arts. I think they even throw in some other things as well. So the generalist is exactly what it says. So your portfolio will be represented of the different content areas. The literacy is only literacy. That's it. So that is the biggest difference. When it comes to the additional stipend, I do get questions about that. If you are in an eligible school for the extra $5,000, it is only for literacy at this time. Generalist is not one of them. Should it be? I think there's an argument for that, but it is currently not. So, Jennifer, let's say, Jennifer, your passion is math and science, like you like literacy, it's fun, but you really love math and science, then I would consider generalist because you could really explore the things that you're doing. If literacy is your, passion, then that one, but it's completely your decision. Oh, then you just finished my statement, but yes, yeah. So those that are more STEM often choose generalists for that reason. I will share with you, I have mentored many, many, many generalists as a young national board mentor and working with them. To me, it's one of the most impressive portfolios to do because it really shows your scope as a teacher because you're showing yourself in so many different content areas. So for generalists, I always like, wow, that is so impressive. Okay, the original stipend, Taylor, that is everybody gets $5,000. You actually get $6,000. You may not know that, but they actually give you $5,000 plus $1,000 to kind of cover like the incidental stuff so you can get more of it for so many years. When I got my $5,000, like wait, where's the rest of it? Because once I take out the benefit and the taxes, I was like, wow, that is not quite $5,000. So the legislature listened, and so you now get $6,000 for your base, and then they take out the taxes and stuff. And then the additional stipend, and I'll be happy to put that in the chat. There is another stipend called the targeted stipend, and that's for teachers who are working in eligible schools. These are schools that have free reduced lunch, have been on a priority list for a number of years, have low grad rates. I mean, there's like 4 different lists. And if your school is on one of those lists and you are an MBCT as a special education teacher, career tech, science, math, literacy, English language arts, ESL, I always forget if I said career tech. If you are an MBCT in one of those certificates, in one of those schools, and you work with students, you're not a principal, you're not a coach, you get an additional $6,000 for working and staying in that school. Now, we have had some folks, thank you, Valerie. We had some folks that I mean, they were salty with me. They were like, like, I don't make the rules here. But they got the scholarship, just like you did. They became nationally board certified teachers in December. And then over the summer, they changed schools to a school that's no longer on the list. But when they got National Board Certified, they were at a school on the list. Do they still get the stipend? No, because it is a retainment tool. It is a way for teachers to stay. So if the teacher, even though that teacher went through National Board at an eligible school, he or she was not an MBCT at the beginning of the school year. So our accounting folks, look to see at the beginning of the year where MBCTs are. And if you change schools, you are not eligible for the certificate because you did not remain at an eligible school. So, they're like, well, I was there. I'm like, but you're not there now. So we got to follow the law. So be clear on that. So I'm a Title I school. If I decide on generalist for early childhood, would I get the stipend? No. Generalist is currently not one of the eligible stipends. I will tell you there's a push. They just added English language arts this year. If you can believe it, literacy has been eligible for the last 5 years, but somehow English language arts was not. So we had some conversations with, our friends across the street and said, English language arts and literacy, they're kind of the same thing. And they're like, oh, we'll add that. So English language arts now is added. We have also been having conversations with them about the generalist is also math, science, and literacy. So my hope is that it will be added, but currently it is not. But yes, the stipend is nice, for sure. Anybody else? All right, I think we're narrowing it down. I don't see any other questions. Thank you. It was been, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, it's Jennifer. I was gonna talk instead of text because it was gonna be faster before you left.
No, you're good.
And now I feel like I think I
Hurry.
forgot my question. It was about, do you think so we have to decide by February on which one we're gonna choose. So do you think there would be any potential that stipend would change before February if I decide to go with generalist? Because I'm now leaning more on literacy now that you tell me that.
So the legislative session, which is always so much fun. That's another fun thing I get to work with. Usually does not end until April. So no, any changes to legislation would not occur until April or May. So that would not happen in time.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Melissa, I have a question. How does literacy work with like library media? Do you have to have like classes come to you all day if you get the literacy national board and to get the additional stipend?
if you pursue literacy and you're currently a library media specialist, you can do one of two things, and maybe some other things, but the two that come to mind immediately would be when you are working with students in your library as a librarian, you have the instructions for literacy, you can certainly address those standards and directions with the students that you have access to, because obviously as a librarian, you are supporting literacy. You can also, a fellow teacher say, hey, do you mind if I work with your students every Friday? Or, you just pick a day that you have a certain group of students that you have regular access to. It can, however that works. So lots of folks do that. That's not uncommon at all. So, and it could be both. You could be both, both of those scenarios. But yes, you will have to initiate what that's going to look like with those groups of students. Now, if you're literacy, I'm trying to think of how many students you have to have in a classroom. Every certificate's a little different. But I think you would still be able to do nice whole class and small group sessions in your library. I don't think that would be an issue. It'd be a little harder, but it shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, and we would have to like do that in order to get the additional stipend if we decide to go that route.
Yes, if you get your literacy NBCT certificate and you are at an eligible school, then you would be, and you work with students all day. I have to keep saying that every time. Then yes, you would be eligible. Library media, I don't foresee that being added to the eligible certificates anytime soon because of the way the legislature has pitched it. Even though I think library media falls under me, I think it's extremely important. But our legislature are looking for those they call them the hard to staff classrooms. And so that's why they have just recently added English language arts, but math, science, those were on there immediately.
Okay, thank you. That helps.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're down to 32. They haven't stumped me yet. Valerie, I wish I could do this all the time. This is, I shouldn't say much more fun, but this, this is nice. Yeah. Lots of joy. All right, friends. I hope to see many of you tomorrow in person. And you reach out now that you see our faces, and you make sure you reach out and tell us who you are. And Valerie, today has been amazing, as I knew it would be. So y'all have done an incredible job. Awesome, awesome. I even told my secretary, it's like every time I said 10 minutes, if I am not in front of my computer, you yank me and get me over there. So shout out to Demikia. She's in here. That she kept me on track today. Aw, yes, of course, Lauren. I can't see my name. Laren, I think I said that right. I've lived that. I've been there, done that. All right, friends, I'm signing off, back to my other gig. Dr. Rogan, I cannot wait to see you in the morning.
I will see you in the morning.
I know. You be safe. All
See you
right, I'll
there.
see ya. Okay,
Bye,
bye,
y'all.
y'all.
Bye-bye.